Charisma. Charisma, the gift of the gods. Money helps. More on that in a moment. Yes, charisma, according to the ancient Greeks, the gods in their wisdom up on Mount Olympus reached down from the heavens above and touched a baby, a male baby, because that's the way the Greeks thought back then, imbuing that male baby with charisma, giving him charm, wit, talent. When he stands up, he starts speaking, and the rest of us all start listening. I know you're thinking of me right now, aren't you? But I'm thinking of someone else. Someone green. It's around St. Patrick's Day. Irish. Maybe Catholic, maybe not. Darling wife, adorable children who just clearly love their daddy. And you watch him and you think, he might make a good president someday. He's so young. Yes. You're thinking of a certain Texan, aren't you? Whereas I'm thinking of someone else entirely. John F. Kennedy, yes! 1960, the whole new age. The age of Aquarius. A new dawn was approaching. He said to us, the torch is passed to a new generation. And he said, you people. No, he didn't say that. That was a different guy. He said, and so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. It was very, very inspiring. He had a lovely wife who despised him, and they played, well, the only time she ever went on a political outing was that trip to Dallas. Ouch. But they played touch football on the lawn of the White House. Yes, with his adorable kids and his little pit bull of a brother, Bobby, following around in tow as his attorney general. Yes. And, what did he do as president? I mean, he looked handsome. I tried to find this poll that I read about years ago. Something like 75% of American women polled back then so they wouldn't kick him out of bed if he suddenly showed up in the middle of the night. Whoa, but what did he do actually as president? It was the new frontier. Well, he got his butt kicked in the Bay of Pigs crisis, like 2 months after he was inaugurated, just a few months after that. And then Eisenhower warned him, saying that you just opened the door to Khrushchev pulling some major shenanigans on you. You just emboldened him. You know, and that's kind of leads to one of my favorite quotes about the Kennedy presidency, where he says, they're at Camp David, he and Ike, and he says, golly, this job's a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. And Ike says, young man, I believe I explained that to you 3 months ago. Yes. So, yes, he ran on the missile gap. He said there was a missile gap, that the United States was falling behind the Soviet Union in missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Right? Well, we had about 200, and the Soviets had about 4. Well, so it wasn't really quite accurate, but hey, it sounded good, and he looked so handsome, and it helped get him over the hurdle, the first Irish Catholic to be elected president. But then, karma's a bitch, right? And then when he got so ahead of himself, he decided to put those Jupiter missiles in Turkey, which is sort of like putting a Gatling gun in your neighbor's backyard pointed at his house, and when he gets upset, you say, hey, it's just a Gatling gun. Well, Khrushchev tended to get a little bit upset, and so he decided to put some missiles in Cuba, 90 miles off the shore of Florida. And now, decades later, 66 decades later, the Kennedyites or the Kennedykins or the Kennedyists are still working overtime trying to reassure us that he was so bold and brave, John F. Kennedy, talking down the mad, psycho Khrushchev, and conveniently ignoring the fact that JFK started the whole mess to begin with, bringing us right to the brink of World War III. But he looked so good. I have another president in mind going forward in time. Barack Obama, Mr. Super Cool. I know, I'm so cheeky, I'm so naughty. Here I am holding the patron saint of the Democratic Party, holding his feet to the flame. Because it was another new dawn, just like JFK's new dawn, right? It was raining sundrops when he took over, right? And he was the first post-racial president. He was putting the suffering, the horrific wounds of the civil rights era behind us. The first post-racial president. It was a new dawn. Or was he the first black president? Oh, I know. On his good days, and there weren't many, he was the first post-racial president. When he had a bad day, and there were a lot during his administrations, he reverted to becoming the first black president. Why? Because we can't criticize him if he's the first black president. That makes us racist. Neat trick, that. And we call Trump the grifter-in-chief. Oh my God, Obama makes him look like a chump. So what did he do, Mr. Super Cool? Well, as they like to tell us, his handlers, that, W caused the Great Recession, but, Obama ended it, and that's not really quite true. See, the TARP fund, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, remember that? They bought up all those toxic, stocks and repackaged them and sold them, sort of, vacuumed them clean of lint and then sold them back to the public and made a small profit. Yes, that was W's idea. That wasn't Obama, but Obama's quite happy to take credit for it. Yes. And then he did a sort of like infrastructure recovery, but it was just a pittance, and we had, Nobel laureate economist Paul Krugman jumping up and down on his war drum and saying, "This isn't going to do diddly squat!" And it didn't. It kept the recession going for over, almost a decade, right? Yes. Why? Because, he couldn't be bothered to go down to Capitol Hill and make a deal. And his apologists say, it's those House Freedom Caucus whack jobs. They wouldn't let him do anything. I just heard a senator say it the other day. Yes, I know, because, a $10 million bridge in their home district would just be so terrible, wouldn't it? Oh, it would get his hands dirty. Yes, and that was Barack Obama's presidency. It was unbesmirched. Yes, it was untainted, uncontaminated by politics, which is what my favorite judgment of Barack Obama's presidency is, from veteran Democratic strategist and professional cynic James Carville. The fact is, he's a Texan, the fact is, our boy's in politics, and he don't like it very much. Yes, that's the Obama presidency. Au contraire, my little peanut, do you say? Jeff, you forgot all about Obamacare. Yes, Obamacare, that sort of watered-down version of Medicare for all that is full of such constitutional dubious constitutionality that it every year that it survives yet another challenge in the Supreme Court is a minor miracle. Yes. I often think that, the Barack Obama presidential library will only have one wing, and that'll be, devoted to Obamacare, but it'll quickly be forgotten, just an asterisk, when we finally get a real solution like Medicare for all. But then, too, he won the Iraq War, didn't he? Well, and he ended the war in Afghanistan. Well, he claimed to, but that war in Afghanistan is still going. And as far as Iraq is concerned, he refused to engage ISIS al-Baghdadi when he showed up, unleashing another 4-year war in that troubled region. So much for our commander-in-chief. Yes. Oh, no, but he got Osama bin Laden. Well, yes, you're right. When they said, "Sir, we finally found him," he said, take him. Doesn't cost us anything. Yes, he could claim that as his crowning achievement as commander-in-chief. Yes, a one-wing library indeed. So here we are with a new boy, a new sweet face, a new dawn. He strums his guitar, walking back and forth, and he's Irish, and maybe Catholic, maybe not. And he's got an adorable wife and adorable children. And, what has he done so far that makes him qualified to be president? Well, as a congressman, he passed a couple, one bill that had to do something with border agents getting more training. That's kind of cool if you're down in El Paso. But if you're in California, New York, or my beloved Wisconsin, what? Okay, yeah, I guess. And he raised $70 million running against the second most hated man in America, although Ted Cruz is probably the third most hated man in America after Howard Schultz now. Yes, so he raised all that money, $70 million, 2-1 over Ted Cruz, and did he win? No. So what happened to that $70 million? Wow, speaking of $10 million bridges, you can build 7 of them. Yes. But now look at his campaign, but he's so cute, so it really doesn't matter, right? Because, he strums around, walking around, he says those little buttons of him, thrashing on a skateboard. It's kind of cute, right? And you listen to his policy positions. It's like, Beto, how do you feel about, healthcare costs in America? I think we should all come together and hold one another as we find a new unity to address this important question. Yeah, okay. Well, how do you feel about human trafficking? I think we should all come together and hold one another to find a new unity as we address this important question. Okay. Well, how about Kim Jong-un? I mean, the fat man. Do you think he's ever going to fire on us? Fire a missile at us? One of those intercontinental ballistic missiles he keeps bragging about? I think we should all come together and hold one another in a new unity as we address this important question. But it's okay because he's so cute. He's so cute. So it's like the Barack Obama presidency all over. Did we cure AIDS under his watch? No. Cancer? No. Did we address mounting gun violence? No. Did we address climate change? No, I don't think he even knew that the environment was a problem until the last few months of his presidency. You say, oh no, what about the Paris Accord? Yeah, that's really holding up well, isn't it? Did we address rising income equality spiraling under his watch? No, we didn't do much of anything, but he looked good. As does Beto. So that's what I'm thinking is happening. Since, despite the fact that he hasn't done anything other than lose $70 million, losing to Ted Cruz, and he has that one border bill, training agents, on the border after 6 years in Congress. That's pretty impressive, don't you think? Yeah. I'm thinking he looks so cute, it doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter. We need a new unity in this country, don't we? Yes, I'm thinking it's going to be another 4 to 8 years, A bunch of people just gave him $6 million just like that his first day. Yep. He's probably going to be our president, and we're going to have 4 to 8 years of just nothing. We're not going to address any of the problems of this country, but he's cute. So it doesn't really matter. And, that just goes right to the heart of it all, right? Because the Founding Fathers, having just rebelled against the king, they wanted a weak presidency. And it looks like we're about to get another one.